weren't lazy, you were listening. You weren't forgotten, you were being fortified. You weren't passed over.
Thank you,
You were being
Lord, for
positioned.
today. Thank you
Stillness is not
for
punishment,
food.
it's preparation. God is never in a rush.
Thank you
When you align with His
for
time,
today is Sunday,
that cannot be
the first day of the week,
The silence
the
you
resurrection,
walked through wasn't empty.
the beginning,
It was pregnant with strategy.
and I went surfing.
God has been equipping you for the
My son and I learned something I wanted to do when I was 14, but I put it off, and it was one of the biggest blessings to
is now become.
learn with my son when he came back to me from Georgia the first time around before he was 18, and he said, "Yo, Dad, I want to learn how to surf." And I go, "Oh, dude, that's perfect because I've always wanted to learn." I bodyboarded and I tried at the beginning, but I didn't have anybody to help me, so I couldn't
The world may
get it because it's a difficult thing, you know, especially if you don't know,
equate alignment with
if you're not properly equipped with the right board.
choose to trust the sacred
And
rhythms. You'll realize that God was
then I had an accident and I stopped, and then everything went haywire.
long enough to hear.
But I learned to surf, and the waves were just fucking amazing. It's something
The absence of visible proof. We want to
really surreal and serene to be just floating out in the middle of the ocean. And where I surf, you know, it's called Old Man's Break. It's perfect, but it's, you know, way out in the ocean a little bit, so you're out there, and it takes a good minute to paddle out there. But when you catch a wave and you're like sliding down this thing that God created for you, like hundreds and thousands of miles away, with the energy that comes, and you feel it underneath you, and it's just a real pure connection to God through a fiberglass surfboard, but it's unreal. And I got to do that today, and it's something that my son and I did together before I needed to start this project 3.5 years ago, and it was amazing because it was right during COVID, and we had plenty of time. You know, 5 days a week sometimes we hung out there all day long, and we barbecued, and this burger was supposed to be prepped over there, but I went alone today because I totally had to disconnect myself from him because of the energy that he's in, and he is in off in a very bad way. He essentially chose alcohol in a way that I've never seen it, even though I had my bouts and I've been sober for 18. My youngest son did not see me drink. 18 years. I've never seen anybody drink like he, and it's really scaring me, and I have to rely on a whole lot of faith and principles, but ultimately it's his free will, and he is part his mom, and the way he lies about it is just another level, and I have to separate, because I've never in my life liked liars, especially after being with his mom, who's a full-blown narcissist, gaslighting manipulator, and just the drag of my life. And it's a sad story, but he's part of that. For me to do what I need to do, I need to separate myself from essentially everybody, but everybody who's not going in my direction, really, everybody who's not aligning with me, and that included my entire family, and last is my son. My other two sons kind of don't want to have anything to do with me. Daniel, my oldest, wants to, but he's just poisoned because of the way he takes life, and I can't do that. So I went surfing by myself, and it was perfect because I didn't have that burden of watching over someone. It was just me. For the first time in my life, it was just me having fun, me and my dogs, with no responsibilities to somebody else, to serve somebody else, to look out for somebody else, to put somebody else first, or at least also tangent like a wife or a girlfriend, but just me. And to experience that for the first time at 51, it's sort of like another level. It wasn't in a group, it wasn't, you know, and I've done things by myself for myself before, but it always had to have been stolen time. It always had to be a compromise somewhere, to sneak away, to hide something, you know, or know that I have responsibilities to other people that I'm shirking or just putting on pause. It wasn't the case today. It was just me, and it's just another level. And this whole documenting this growth process, you know, what really is it possible to change? Well, the obvious answer is yes, because I remember not being the wreck that I've become in the past 30 years. I do remember a version of me, you know, at a younger age, at 14, where sure, I was affected by a few things, but I was still me with a few hurts rather than everything about me hurt, and I couldn't identify outside of my hurts because it was just so much trauma, one after the other, you know, for 30 plus years, that it just becomes your identity. And then you have kids and relationships that entangle in all that and constantly remind you that that is your identity, and you have no choice because there's a commitment that must be upheld, and the identity sticks with that. But today, it was just me. But on the way back, and you know, this is a 45-minute drive. I think something like 30, 40 miles away. Let's say 45 miles away, 50 miles, whatever. It's a good drive. 50 miles from that beach, which was essentially unchanged since this country was formed. Or let's say California, because that's where I'm at. To the location where, you know, my house is, my dad's house, and this is an ADU, or I fucking, you know, rebuilt from having to be here to take care of my responsibilities, perceived responsibilities to my family. But the drive from there to here, I imagined the raw land that it once was, when let's say it was nothing but the natives, the Indians, where they sort of kept the land as it was and they lived on it and around it, versus all the buildings and concrete and everything that we poured. As far as the eye could see for 50 miles, you know, for an hour of drive, it was all man-made. It was all changed from its original tapestry, what it looked like. The effort, you know, the time, 300 years, something in that neighborhood, and the effort of men, you know, persistently with a vision and commitment and resources and you know, supportive, you know, women or people who supported, you know, the work that went into all this. But even the trees that I saw were, you know, planted there. They were planted, they weren't left there native. Not most of them, not nearly all of them. So everything was man manipulated, if not straight out fabricated, you know, for an entire land. So change is possible, you know, but at what cost and at what direction and for what reason? And this is my attempt to change. And ultimately, change boils down to the individual. And ultimately, change, from what I'm understanding, first must happen in the mind. And ultimately, if change must happen in the mind, whether it's to change your mind about how your body works and how you accept your body and how you accept your body in this space and time with its sort of qualities and gifts and strengths, and to use that best, and or change your mind on how you connect with God so that you could get a download from God of His opinion about you and what your strengths and best qualities are that you could use to build. That's the starting point. And there's a Bible verse, something about change your mind, or we'll get into it, but it's there. It's basically, it says change how you think of things. And for the past very long time, I've been cursing myself, quite literally, in my head, in very, very mean and depravacating ways, to the point where I'm pretty sure I caused myself brain damage to some degree because of how powerfully I inserted those thoughts and kept myself from believing that I was capable of anything except the losses that I kept incurring. I didn't want to try anymore because when I try, I let people down, and it just seems like they get hurt all the time. You know, with my son too, like the surfing effort, like he wanted to be a pro surfer. I'm like, good. You know, my dad didn't let me do the thing I wanted to do. I don't give a fuck, you know, what it looks like. If that's your calling, I'll help you step into it. You know, let's figure out how to make money on, you know, or whatever it takes to follow that path and do what you need to live and survive on this planet while you're doing that. You know, make money at that or some peripheral auxiliary element of it, or even just a kick-ass job that pays the bills. But if you're connected to surfing or whatever it is that you're connected to, it fuels you to want to do best and better and discover all your strengths that you know, a young man is supposed to be led into. You know, as a father, I could see a whole lot of strengths in him that I know, like the world would be like, yeah, dude, if you do this and that, like, dude, you can, you know, make money with it because, like, that's your personality and that's, you know, rare or it fits here and there. But until, you know, he proves that to himself, it's useless. And being manipulated out of his life, it becomes very difficult for him to even hear me so that he has that chance to, you know, really give it an honest go. So everything becomes a fucking mess and falls apart. But, you know, this burger looks good. What's the first step? Renewing the mind. Renewing it to what? Gratitude. Ultimately, it's not just the feel-good emotions that come with it, but the gratitude process really identifies the shit in your life that you are truly able to be thankful and grateful for that's in it, and keep it at all costs, and everything else that doesn't fall into that category, just kick it the fuck out, including memories, including perceived hurts and people that still hurts, like wants to hurt you, like keep wanting to fucking do damage to you for no fucking reason after you fucking spent years of, you know, trying to help them move along. Whatever it is, baseline of okay, these few things, even if the most minuscule things, I know some guys don't even have a dad, but you have a DNA that came from him. He was the key to unlocking your mom's portal to, you know, fucking be here and to at least experience whatever you're experiencing. And even though maybe it's all bad or was most of it bad, like, the bottom line is everybody has an opportunity to experience something fucking phenomenal. Even if 95% of the other shit is like bad, cool, I'll take it. If while I'm here I could experience something fucking phenomenal that was like, fuck yeah, that's worth living. You know, like surfing, like this wave I caught it. Fuck, I just, you know, like gliding on it, like I can't really explain it. Cool, you know. That was enough for me to resurrect me from not wanting to participate in life anymore, you know. But now I gotta get a nice job to pay for my fucking, you know, buy nicer shitty car, not this shitty car, you know, having to pump air into the tire just to make it home, and you know, all the hassles that I've lived, you know, essentially third world poverty in America. But fuck it, you know, I kick ass doing it because, I don't know, I'm a scavenger. That's what I've done. But that's the old me, because now I want to be a producer. Now I want to be a designer, an artist, make something new, not constantly take old shit and refurbish it, fix it, find trash and make something good of it. I have that ability. I've done that all my life, you know. But now I want everything to be different how I did it in the past. Fucking 180 degree turn and see what that produces. And step by step, we're gonna start. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna fucking build something and see where it goes. My ideas of what I want to do are, you know, expansive. Fucking, you did label it fucking grandiose, whatever fuck you want. Don't give a fuck. It's massive, but I'm gonna need help. I'm gonna ask God for help, because ultimately, just traveling from Sano to here, I saw thousands and thousands of cars of people that I have no idea how they think inside their head, how, you know, programmed they are to live their meager little lives, like NPCs or whatever you want to call them, or just, you know, still deep into the Matrix, which is, for me, is great, because if you're fucking in the Matrix, I'll sell you a story, just buy it. I promise you, at least I'll entertain you while you're fucking grinding your life to death, but you'll have something cool to be like, oh wow, look at that guy. But more importantly, the people that want to think outside of the box, outside of the Matrix that they were born in, outside of the fucking slavery mindset of having to do according to others, whereas there's higher principles involved that you can do according to that and fuck others, you know, is kind of my aim, but not like in a cruel way, because we don't want to injure or hurt anyone. And my entire attitude is in the cognitive and spiritual realm, not physical. I do not believe in laying hands on anybody unless it's fucking asked and it's in prayer. Or sex, but that's a fucking different story. The country was empty at one point, and we changed it, we built into it. The tapestry of it changed with the roads and the cities that we put on top of it, but the mindset of the people here and what we consider a country and what we consider society and how we interact with each other also has changed. From, you know, you had the, let's say, the basic Indian culture who was here first, and who, you know, whatever else scenario and situation, still human beings, but they just lived life differently. Then the newcomers, then all the fucking imports, and now the illegal imports with the regular imports, you know, and all the who's who and what's what, versus just fuck it, everybody's just people, you know, everybody's just people. And as long as we're all building in a way where it's sort of best for everybody, that to me is the key. And everybody is going to have a different input on that. Everybody has a different slice of perspective to make that thing a whole, and fitting it together, and everybody finding their lane, so to speak, their tribe, and each tribe accumulatively adding to the next one, the one adjacent to them, to help them move along. So in this process, for me, it's very simple. I'm going to need fucking help in a lot of ways, because there's many things that I need to outsource. Not that I'm not capable, but I'm going to, like a conductor of an orchestra, I'm not going to play every fucking instrument, you know, 1,000 pieces to make this fucking extravagant song that plays out, you know, not even song, opera, not opera, fuck that, there's singing involved. What's the other thing called? Symphony. Fuck, like when you're sitting on the beach and you see the whole scene laid out in front of you, and the sunset's going down, and the fucking whitewash, or the wave is like really white in contrast with the water, and you could see the surfers, like different level, different abilities surfing, and it's like fucking controlled chaos, surfboards flying in one corner, you know, kids, you know, running over each other in the foreground and in the background way off. There's fucking these guys that are doing amazing rides, and guys going from all the way across, and guys falling into the water, and it's all happening live in a 5 minute span of this amazing, you know, show. And it's the same thing. I'm gonna hopefully find the right people to fill in the right slots and do this thing that's in my mind and record it for history. Record it, maybe have it be scalable, reproducible, and fucking other people could have fun doing something similar instead of living the same boring fucking life that everybody's living, and understand that we can coexist. Like, fuck it, I'll get my daily bread and my burger and my San Pellegrino, and you should too, you know, as long as you're not here to fucking cut me at my knees. I won't, there's no reason for me to injure your process, you know. That's the embodiment of free will. And we'll see where it goes. We'll see what we could do. But it's fucking Sunday. It's Resurrection Day. It's time to get started. It's time to put some fucking real effort into a real direction, with some real meaning, with some real fucking help and guidance, not just of our own volition that constantly fails and does not work. And like we are all feeling, there's a reset coming. It's fucking coming. But we're going to go and supplant ourselves in that reset. And I'm fairly certain that the way I want to do shit looks a lot closer to how shit is gonna get done in the new reset, because this shit, most of this shit is not gonna make the cut to be written into that new system, new program, new code, whatever the fuck you guys want to call it, you know, that new way of living in life. But the rules are going to change again, you know, lifespan's going to increase, and the negative polarity element is going to be removed, so the construct of living in a positive, going towards the light or in love and light direction is going to be there, but still you're going to have guard rails like a laser beam, right? Narrows the path because it's focused. And design this little fucking meager little experience or experiment for myself, forward looking into what that might look like after Jesus fucking plucks us all up, wipes the petri dish sort of clean, and puts us back down and says, okay, here, 1 more 1,000 years, let's fucking see what we've learned and how we can get this shit right before we ixnay this planet A. Thank you, Lord, for the cow that died. Looks delicious. Join me.